Okay, everybody, so a few things before the sermon in verse, so you know a few things about it. This year, in May, we lost Eric Carle, the great children's author. So this is an homage to Eric Carle. He got us through countless nights. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate Eric Carle more than a Curious George book. Has anybody here ever actually analyzed a sentence in a Curious George book? Yeah, there's no subject. There's just verbs. It's just run-on sentence after run-on sentence. And the kids would just be like, read it again. And we're like, oh, not another Curious George book. But Eric Carle, you could read those for days. So this is an homage to him. It's, if you read the Hermit Crab Finds a Home, that's what this was modeled after. So, but instead of a hermit crab, we have a gnome. And this gnome's name is Rupert. And why gnomes? Well, there's a whole tradition about trolls and fairies and pixies and other creatures, but gnomes are relatively new in mythology. So gnomes didn't appear until the Renaissance. Somebody just made a gnome up and called it that. So we have lots of flexibility with gnomes on what they can and can't do. So we're going to have some fun with the gnome. So a few things that you need to know about gnomes and other parts so this sermon makes, well, this Christmas tale makes sense. One is that gnomes like to drink, so that's going to happen. And gnomes are quite gassy, so that's going to make an appearance. Methodists, technically, when they first came out, were teetotalers, so I'm going to make reference to that. Harry Emerson Fosdick was a preacher at Riverside Church in New York City, and for a time was supposedly the most famous preacher in the world. Some people in Pittsburgh, when they say you plural, they say yous. So in order to make a word rhyme, I had to use that. Quakers are known for their silence. So there's going to be a time where Rupert goes to a Quaker church, and you need to know what happens. That's what's going to happen. So, but I think that's all you need to know. Feel free to go ahead and groan if you want to practice groaning, because some of the rhymes are really bad. Yep. And you're thinking in your mind, you're going to hear, oh, this is about a 4-beat measure, and then the next one's going to be 4 beats and it's going to rhyme. Well, it's going to rhyme, but it may take me about 16 beats to get there. So, and sometimes when you're like, what did you do that for? Well, you try writing one of these, right? It's the hardest sermon to write in a year. So, let's start our transition. The last thing, the person who is reading this poem is not me, but it's a character. Claude Rogers, which is Fred Rogers' kind of weird cousin. It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Won't you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a wonderful day in this, it's a beauty day in this beauty wood. A beautiful day for beauty. Won't you be mine? Could you be mine? I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in this neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well stay. Won't you be mine? Could you be mine? Would you be my neighbor? Won't you be, could you be, please won't you be my neighbor? Rupert the gnome searches for a home. I told you. It doesn't get any better than that. Rupert the gnome lived a fruitful life. Underground and careful, without strife. Till one day Jolene, the condo woman, came and changed his game plan. Move earth, dig down, deep, 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 condos, condos, cheap, 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 which made Rupert sing, Jolene, 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 why must you take my home? I'm begging you, please don't take my home. Rupert knew he must evacuate. A new home he must contemplate. And so he sang, away in Minneapolis, no crib for a bed. The little gnome Rupert laid down his sweet head. The stars in the sky looked down where he lay. And little gnome Rupert did not have a home. I never said every line would rhyme. My new home will be a church. Empty mostly, I'll do my search. The first church he explored was a Methodist. But gnomes like beer, they're not teetotalist. Hey folks, you're more than happy to come up here and try this yourself, right? The second church was a UCC. Neat and orderly, but they weren't very fun-y. Off he went to an Episcopal. Pull. Episcopal, let's see how this rhymes. But the incense caused his sinuses. Oh no, I need to read that number again. Let's do this. This is a tough one, folks. Off he went to the Episcopal, but the incense made his sinuses a scandal. For sure, the Quakers, they have big hearts, but the silence meant he could not be carefree with his farts. Then off to the beautiful Catholic. Nice place, but the preacher was no Fosdick. Surely the Lutherans would be right. But their plates of lutefisk made his belly uptight. And so he began to sing, with only one place left. They're gonna put me in the movies. They're gonna make a big star out of me. They'll make a film about a gnome that's sad and lonely. And all I have to do is act naturally. Then he found the Judson congregation. Maybe this would improve his situation. But there was misgivings with this bunch. They're Baptist. They're mean. They're weird. That was his hunch. And he sang that Elvis Costello song just a little louder, thinking about this church. There's some things you just can't cover up with lipstick and powder. But the sign said something that made him feel whole. Bring your doubts, bring your hopes, bring your doubts, feed your souls. So he entered with much trepidation. But they welcomed Rupert without complication. We've been waiting for a gnome like yous, someone to help these yahoos. What's your name, lad? Let's get you a name tag. More important, Rupert, we must incur. John wants to know if you're a 10-er. What's your skills? Can you pay the bills? But a kid stood up and shouted loud, love this gnome for who he is, or he'll run to St. Cloud. It's Christmas time, don't you know, with baby Jesus, and God says hello. Love this gnome, not for what he can do for this group, but love this gnome to form an open loop, where his love and our love meet, where we make music with a beautiful beat. Rupert the gnome coughed and shuffled his feet. He said, I have a word to entreat. There was a song I used to sing. It's by the Beatles, it has a nice ring. I sang it when I used to drink mead. You know it as love is all you need. I know it's not a Christmas carol, but we can sing it without much apparel. So would you all please join me in the chorus of this song? All you need is love. All you need is love.